Hello, I am back and I don't have a vlog this week, um, but I've been playing Just Dance. Lucy's here, pressed. And this week I've decided to speak about something different, not really different because it's in the same vein, but I've just decided to share a little bit more. And it is on the topic of happiness, and why I choose to be happy over everything else. So, I don't consider myself this. Why I've been doing this is basically because I've been wanting to share more, and I consider myself pretty open, especially to the people that are close to me, or if we come in physical contact. I tend to be really open. So if I meet you and Lucy here. So if I meet you, you'll probably end up hearing part of my story. Or if I give you advice, it's going to be from my own personal experience. I'm not really big on offering up anything if I can't really speak from a place of me kind of attempting to know how that feels or knowing how that feels. Lucy is just, there's a dog that she probably wants to go play with in the distance. Isn't there, Boogie? Sit. It's okay. I have decided to talk about my journey and kind of like what has led me to the decision to, start Pavawell with my family and kind of how that all happened, because it was more something that just kind of fell into place. Even with my studies and choosing to be so connected to and dedicated to, studying Key West history, and, just kind of how the island has gotten to where it is today has all just kind of fallen into place. Because if you would have asked me 7 years ago, I would have thought I would have been producing or, in a really large newsroom. And I was on that track, believe it or not. But being in the newsroom and experiencing, some of the stories firsthand and not really appreciating, not at all, how people of color, minorities were covered, really caused me to get out of there, and realizing that I wouldn't really have much control over the narrative, even though I'm building shows and creating, these stories with the reporters and with the writers. I decided that that wasn't the track that I wanted to be on. So I went back to school, and I'm very happy with my decision because it's led me to where I am now, to kind of make choices in terms of, okay, well, what can I do to, highlight issues that mean something to me in the way that I can, based on my talents and my abilities, my gifts, whatever you want to call it. So if you know me, you know that I can tend to be very straightforward. If you know me personally. And I think I come off that way too. I don't tend to sugarcoat anything, and I'm very I'm unapologetic about who I am. That's just the way that I am. I don't pretend to know things that I don't know. I'm just me. So if you also know me, I probably can be described as somebody who chooses to be at peace. I probably seem very cool, calm, and collected, which most of the time I am, because I tend not to let things bother me and I pretty much go with the flow. Um, but that's a choice. And not to say that it doesn't come easily to me, it's just something that I know if I choose, it's going to make me feel good about myself. It's going to make me happy. And I actually didn't really get into, because I'm a reader and I like kind of seeing what people's opinions are and learning about what people have to say about certain ideas and like happiness. Um, I kind of began a journey of figuring out what that meant. And it was something that I stumbled upon, or that was kind of, I would say, found me. My first kind of encounter with reading anything or really looking into anything about what happiness is, what actively choosing to be peaceful meant, which was something that if you probably would have asked me years ago, I would have been like, what? I'm just happy. But I wasn't aware of how, I wanted to be this, but physically and emotionally and mentally, I was stressing myself out. So even though I'm very go with the flow and that's my personality, there still weren't some things that were falling into place, and there were still things that I needed to learn. And I specifically remember the first time that I was formally introduced to this idea of happiness. And that was when I had a friend of mine suggest this to me. This was, I want to say this was 6 years ago. I had a friend of mine suggest this book to me. Look at that beautiful stain. Oh, struggles. And I was like, happiness. This is a new concept for me. This idea of like, really knowing what meditating or learning about what meditating and being mindful was, because you have fleeting moments where you feel good and that feels good and you're like, what is this? You take some breaths and you have time to sit with yourself. You have those moments where you might be in the car and you just kind of have a sense of peace because you're in a zone where you're feeling it. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know that there were names for these things. I'm just going to put that out there. In undergrad, that wasn't something that I was really into. But I had somebody we happened to stumble across each other after knowing each other for a couple of years. And we were both going through a breakup at the time. And this person suggested this book to me. And I was like, what this gonna do? But I'm now very grateful for that suggestion. And I bought it actually. I didn't buy it right away. I waited and I remembered, oh, let me go pick that up. So I've had it and I still revisit it today. It's called Happiness by Thich Nhat Hanh. And it was life-changing. I'm going to be completely honest about that. It was completely life-changing for me. As a brown girl, it's just not something that I thought that I would, I don't know, for some reason, gravitate towards. It's just something that was new to me. Um, and this book really goes into practicing what it means to be happy, because you have to choose that in a world filled with, violence, anger, all of these negative emotions and ideas and thoughts. You really have to choose to be happy, because life goes on. You have only today. That's all we're guaranteed. And I think we forget that. I know sometimes I forget it. I have moments where I get so sad because of what's going on in the world. And I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. But I realize that, number one, all I have is today. That's all I have. Number two, I choose to be whatever it is that I want to be from one moment to the next. Happy, okay? Sad, angry. And you know what? It's not to say that I push those emotions down, but I'm now keen to the reminders that happiness is there for me, and that choice to be joyful and at peace is there for me, and that by living by example in my peace, others can see that, and that gives me hope, regardless of what people may think about that. I've realized that that's what keeps us going. What else are we here for? What else are we here for? We're here to make a difference with one another. And I strongly believe that, things that we all have an opportunity. Okay? There's a piece of the pie, like I said before, out there for all of us. So I am not here to compete or to be stressed. So, and that doesn't mean that I'm not learning or that I'm not growing as a person. It's just that I choose to just be here. And I'm grateful for that. And I will say that reading about it, one of the things that I love to do, really helped open my eyes to putting that into practice and experiencing what it means to be happy with myself, regardless of what someone may think. Because it's very easy, like I said, to get bogged down with messages of who you should be. And it's not just in the commercials, it's with society, with your family, with your friends. Those things can shape and mold us, but we have to remember that at the end of the day, it's our choice. It's your choice. And nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that away from me. I choose to be who I am from one moment to the next, and no matter what it is that I'm doing. Okay, so this book set it off for me. It really did. It opened my eyes to this idea of practicing being relaxed. And I know there's like a meme out there of the little doggy sitting in the fire, and it's like, oh, this is fine. That's kind of funny to me, because that's like a balance of denial and like really just realizing that that moment is what it is. You know what I mean? Like that moment is what it is. And like I said, no, you don't have to suppress your emotions, because believe me, I have had my moments, and I still do. And I'm aware of that. But I also know that how I choose to react depends on me. And I'm not going to let anybody take that away from me. And you don't have to let anybody take that away from you either, because I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be at peace. That's all we want. That's all I want at the end of the day. So Lucy's like, I want to be happy too. I just want to go outside and play. I strongly suggest, even if it's something that because honestly, I was skeptical. Happiness? That's the title of a book? What? See what I mean? So, like I said, this book really, really put things in perspective for me in terms of what it means to practice being happy and to be really aware of how I can retain those moments of happiness. They're not just fleeting, and be in a constant state of peace, because that is real, okay? Especially when you don't allow somebody to take that from you, you can be in a constant state of bliss and just carefree. And that's a great place to be. Trust, when you don't let things kind of affect you and you don't react all the time, because there's not a need to react all the time. There isn't. And I'm learning that on a day-to-day, especially with this idea of social media. We feel like there's always a need to react or respond, which sometimes that's a good thing, to voice how you feel and to get it out there. But to do it all the time can be draining, especially when you don't really want to. There's times where I feel like I just want to be. Just let me do what I want to do. And I realize that I can. And all I have is today, regardless of what might happen. And it could get morbid sometimes, considering like, oh, well, I could die tomorrow. That's a real thing. But I'm not afraid of death. I will say that. I'm not. Because I've realized that I've chosen to live my life to the fullest and share what I can share, love the way that I have, and just be. Okay? I'm here, just who I am. And you deserve that just as much as I do. So, I suggest it. Just taking a peek, picking it up, maybe browse through it in the bookstore or pick it up from the library. Maybe you don't actually buy it. I don't know. I know I'm a big proponent of, just taking time with books. So maybe you do want to actually pick it up and buy it. But I highly, 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 highly recommend it, or something like this, just to get your feet wet if you haven't already, with that idea of being mindful. So lay down. No. Good girl. Stay. So I actually want to hear, have you had those moments of happiness? Have you had those fleeting moments of happiness? I want to hear what that felt like. If you want to leave a comment, I want to know. What did it feel like? And have you tried to figure out how to have that all the time? And just know that you can. Whether it's taking a walk or doing something for yourself, or really just not allowing the things that we normally allow to get to us. Just see how that makes you feel. So, have a good day. Love ya.